Afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Phish and Tips. Got another virtual background today, and it's weirdly tied to our subject. We talk about cyber hygiene since I'm recording this at the start of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And it's just one of those very big pieces that we don't think about as we get distracted by the silver bullets and the shiny technology. So why motorcycles? I mean, I think most people know that I'm a fairly big two-wheeled fan, whether it be bicycles or motorcycles. And race bikes, the guy in the front of the background is in fact me trying to learn to ride at some decent pace. Not brilliant, my posture isn't fantastic, but that's okay. But just like cybersecurity, motorcycle racing is pretty high risk. And if you don't pay attention to the details, things will go horribly wrong. And that's what cyber hygiene is, really, is paying attention to the basic details, to making sure that what you're doing is appropriate, it's right, and it's on target. It's those simple things that we can all do and all put out there, whether it be in our day-to-day lives, whether it be talking to customers, or whether it be working with our customers and helping them be a little bit better. So again, ties back to these same activities, high risks, simple steps. Let's reduce those risks so then we can pay attention to going fast, doing business, and accelerating our digital transformations or our way through the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. So what are some of the basic principles? We're going to start with the CIS Top 20, simply because it's such a good framework to talk about for a medium-sized customer or less mature one. We all know the cybersecurity team is doing the NIST CSF assessments or workshops, and we do like NIST with its slightly bigger portfolio. But the cybersecurity framework, those top four, are so key. So first, know what physical devices you have, your phones, your laptops, your other devices. Know what's connecting to your network at home. Know what's connecting to your business network. If you don't know it's there, how are you going to pay attention to securing it? Secondly, know what's running on those devices and why. If you don't know what's on the device, you certainly cannot fix what's there. And this ties so closely into our third one, continuous vulnerability management. We've got to patch, update, and secure everything that runs on a very regular basis. We saw the zero login vulnerability come out just before this recording, and it was being reported to be attacked extremely quickly. We also saw numerous organizations fail to patch not network devices or not PCs, but their perimeter controls, and be exploited by the Citrix vulnerabilities, F5 vulnerabilities, Pulse Secure vulnerabilities, because they haven't done the due diligence and performed their performance management on it. And lastly, controlled use of administrative privileges, the number 4 in the CIS Top 20. Don't do things as admin unless you have to. Certainly applicable to a home PC, certainly applicable to things we're talking to our customers about. Have a dedicated admin account that you use only when you're installing software, fixing settings, or logging in. It probably won't necessarily stop it, but it does force the attacker to take another step. Not only do they have compromised your system, they also have to perform a privilege escalation to go to a level where they can do things outside of user space. And outside of user space is where most of the truly dangerous things can happen. That's the CIS. They also next talk about maintenance and monitoring and their audit logs. So knowing what's going on the network, probably a great cyber hygiene technique for a business. Most of us, me included, aren't going to be as good as we're doing at home. The one piece we are going to talk about that extends beyond that is passwords and multi-factor authentication and strong authentication in general. That most attacks we're seeing are because of a compromised credential, whether that's a reused one, a phished one, or something else. But if you reuse your password and it was involved in a breach, it was a high-profile political incident where a major political figure had a password that was exposed in the breach in 2012 by LinkedIn and was reportedly still valid in 2016. Recently, probably not the best cyber hygiene, and the techniques of credential stuffing, where they assume you're reusing their password and try and launch it into an attack vector to see if it's out there, are still there. So your passwords should be unique. They should be strong because you're not going to change them as often. NIST has changed their guidance recently and said we shouldn't be rotating passwords every 90 days because frankly we use weaker passwords and it will probably be summer 2020 bang for many people, or given the way 2020 is going, some collection of expletives and inventive swear words. Certainly would be what mine was looking like anyway. So don't reuse them. Don't memorize them. Use a password manager, LastPass, 1Password, e-wallet, Dichotic. There's a load of them out there. Pick one and use it. We're investigating this at Presidio for sure, to have one that everyone will be able to use. And where you can, use strong authentication, whether that be just a multi-factor authentication token. Even SMS is better than nothing, and yes, it can be attacked, but it's better than not having anything. A password generator like Google Authenticator or Yubico Authenticator, or a hardware token key, Google's Titan keys, or once again, YubiKey are great. Duo is the one that Presidio uses with the push methodology. Nice and easy to use, and something we certainly be encouraging all our customers to do, and doing at home on your Amazon account, your Google Mail account, your LinkedIn account, your Twitter account, whatever other account you happen to choose. So in short, cyber hygiene can stop, the really bad things happening. It's road rash on a motorcycle or worse. Here it's your credentials being stolen, your passwords exposed, your bank accounts emptied, email being sent from you, and all sorts of other consequences, some of which could be fairly severe for your long-term well-being. Identity theft is very hard to reverse. And do it right and pay some attention to the small details before we worry about everything else. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Sure, there'll be many more updates coming out. So hopefully this one's a useful start for people who are thinking the right way. Take care. Goodbye.